All right. So from there, we will see what all things happened after that. Rest of the things are very fast forwarding because they all are in a specific sequence. We will go through what really happened after Bhishma said, I'm ready for the war. Okay. So shloka number 13. Who can chant after me? Who can repeat after me? Bittu. Yeah. Bittu, you can unmute your, yeah. You have the Gita book with you? Do you have the Bhagavad Gita book with you? No? Okay. But you can chant. Try to. I'll be going slow. Try to chant with me. Okay? Tatah Shankhascha Bhairyascha. Tatah Shankhascha Bhairyascha. Panavanaka Gomukhaha. Sahasaivabhyahanyanta. Sahasaivabhyahanyanta. Sashabdastu bhavat. Sashabdas tumulo bhavat. Good. Okay. So, can someone else also chant now? Those who have a book with them. Mayuka, you have a book with you?
Yes, uncle.
Okay, Nama. So, go after me. Tata Shankhascha Bhairyascha.
Tata Shankascha Bhairyascha.
Panavanaka Gomukhaha.
Panavanaka Gomukha.
Sahasaivabhyahanyanta.
Sahasaivabhyahanyanta.
Sashabdastumulo bhavat.
Sashabdastumulo bhavat.
So it is whenever you see after O in English, generally they put a stroke on the head, right? Whenever that symbol you see in English, it is O ending in a light A sound. So tumulo bhavat. So it is abhavat, right? But since we cannot write tumulo abhavat as and still make the beat properly, what in Sanskrit what you do is you end up in that sound. So tumulo abhavat, right? So that's how it. But you should not speak A clearly. It should just be very subtle. It's difficult. When you practice, you will get it. Okay. But when you're singing, it seems like tumulo bhavat. But it is not tumulo bhavat. It is tumulo abhavat. All right. So the next one. And Gautam, would you do that? Chapter 114. Louder, please. No, I will go and then you repeat. Okay. Tata Shvetair Hayair Yukte. Tata Shvetair Hayair Yukte. Mahati Syandane Sthitau. Mahati Syandane Sthitau. Madhavah Pandavaschaiva. So in Sanskrit, whenever there is a ha in the previous word ending and pa in the second word start, when it is ha and pa together, right? So if you see Madhavah, Ha is the ending sound there. Pandavas chaiva. Pa is the starting sound there. When you merge these two, because you are singing together, ha and pa, when they merge together, what is the sound you should get? Fa. It is fa, as in F. Okay. So it is Madhava Pandavas chaiva. Good. Madhava Pandavas chaiva. Divyau Shankau Pradhatmatuhu. Divyau Shankau Pradhatmatuhu. So these two shlokas. Tata Shankascha Bheryascha Padavanaka Gomukha Sahasaivabhyahanyanta Sashabdastu Bhavat Tata Shvetairhayairukte Mahati Syandane Sthitau Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyau Shankau Pradhatmatu. So here this shows how wild is that army or the Duryodhana's side. Now what here has been mentioned is list of all the instruments that make sound. Whistles, like we usually talk about whistles, drums, guitars and all that. So these are various musical instruments. These are all the instruments that just make loud sound. Okay. So Shankha, you all know Kaunch. Bheri is a long, a lengthy sound making horn. Panavanaka and Gomukha. These are all sound making instruments. The drums that are wild drums that people beat to make sounds. Right? So Sahasaivabhya. Sahasai matlab, it means suddenly. It was not planned. Just because Bhishma started that making that big sound, everyone, they just had to do something for that leader. They cannot leave the leader alone. So they all followed. But was that in a particular order? No. Here, Vyasa Maharshi, when he is writing, he says, Sahasaivabhya hanyanta sa shabdas tumulo bhavat. Tumulo, it's like vibrating around. Right? It was a beautiful vibration. It was a dreadful vibration of sounds all over, but were they coming in a particular order? No, it was all haphazard. Everybody, whatever instrument they had, they started blowing it off. Why? In olden days, before starting the war, to say that we are ready for the war, you blow whatever instrument you have, you make huge sound. Now, because there is no leadership here, the king himself started speaking foolishly. Bhishma taking the first stance of calling for the war, rest all other teams were all wild. They were all on their own, randomly making these sounds using their instruments that they had. So this also shows that lack of discipline in the army. What does it show? It shows lack of discipline in the army. Usually, army always goes by ranks. First, there should be somebody commander. Then comes the next level. In Indian army also you'll have those different categories, right? People will not haphazardly start commanding and rushing towards the war. That happens only when you are wild, when you are not tamed, when you are not focused on what you do, or sometimes when you are in a panic state. All those are evident in the army of Kauravas. And then he says, then what happens? Tata Shvetair Hayair Yukte. See, when you should understand this whole thing is being told by whom? Who is speaking here? Sanjaya Vacha. Sanjaya is speaking. To whom? To Dhritarashtra. Suppose if I am Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya is speaking to me about all these things, that hey, Duryodhana's army is all like randomized now, everybody is panic driven. They are making their own sounds and there is no specific order, there is no discipline anywhere. They are just ready for war. Now when this thing is told to Dhritarashtra, what should go in his mind? If See, you know, Dhritarashtra was very much egoistic. He was very, very attached to his own sons, Mamaka, he said, right? So when he is attached to Duryodhana and the 100 brothers, what he will go through? He will go through, oh my God, what is happening? Why these people are so randomized? Can't they like focus their energies into a little bit of war discipline? Can't they come together? If they get into the war in this way, then they will definitely lose the war. What is the purpose then? As a king, having fought so many wars, having seen so many, having witnessed so many wars and the end results of the war, he should know how this war is going to end by just knowing how it is starting. He should say, oh my God, this army is going to lose. And so Dhritarashtra at that point, and that's why Sanjaya, when he explains to Dhritarashtra, he gives exact picture of what is happening, who is going to win, who is going to lose. He will not say, Raja, Duryodhana is going to lose. He will not say that. He will give how Duryodhana is performing, how his army is performing, how the leaders are thinking through, how Dronacharya is silent. He will only give those hints to Raja. Raja should take a decision. He could have just called up and said, war closed, no more war. I don't think this is good enough. It is not good in anyone's favor, especially in our favor. We are going to lose this. White flag. You know, but he did not do that. So, at that point in time, we see that Tataha, Shvetair Hayair. Hayaha means horses. Hayaha means horse. Hayaihi means plural. Many horses, right? So there were horses, white horses. Who comes on the white horse chariot? None other than Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Arjuna. Yeah, Vidra knows the answer. So Bhagwan Shri Krishna's, if you see the chariot, had white horses. Now these white horses resemble purity. White always resembles purity of heart, purity of mind. So those who have not done anything wrong will always be bright. Those who have done something wrong will show the darker side. So here, symbolically also representing that Bhagwan comes on a white horse. Tata Shvetair Hayair Yukte. Yukte means on it or with that, with horses. He comes. Tata, he comes. There he comes. Who? Mahati. Syandene Sthitau. So, there comes this mighty Arjuna, right? Along with Madhava. Madhava, who is Madhava? Madhava is another name for Krishna, right? Madhava Pandava cha eva. Madhava Pandavash chaiva, which means Madhava and the son of Pandu, which is none other than Arjuna here. So, sometimes when Pandavaha is told, when you say Pandava, it is all the 5 brothers. But when you say Pandavaha, it is the blessed one amongst them all, which is none other than Arjuna. So Pandavaha Chaiva Divyau Shankhau Pradhat Madhu. Here also there is a conch. Who blew the first conch here? No. Yes, it should be Sri Krishna. We will see that. Because it is told, it is Divyau Shankhau, divine conch, not an ordinary conch. What kind of a conch it is? It is a divine conch. Divyaha. Divya means divine. That means Sanjaya is again pointing out to Dhritarashtra that this is not an ordinary person riding the horse there. Madhava is not an ordinary person. He is none other than Paramatma. What is there in his hand is not an ordinary conch. It is a divine conch. Divya Shankhau. Pradhat Matuhu. Pradhat Matuhu is making loud sound. So he says the divine conch is making sound. There he comes. Madhava and Pandavaha, which is Arjuna, on a white horse chariot. White resembling purity. This itself, this shloka, if Dhritarashtra is keen enough to understand, he should know that there is purity, there is discipline. The first conch comes from Bhagavan himself. What else these petty 100-man army and billions of army can do when Bhagavan himself is blowing a conch against them? He should know the end results by now. But the beauty of Dhritarashtra and the extent of his own foolishness is that he will never be able to understand the real nature of Paramatma. So now it continues. Look at the sequence in which now the conches start blowing from the opponents. Okay, we will see that. So we'll go to 15, and the 15th says, Anshika, would you like to repeat after me? Or Arush? Okay, Arush is raising hand. Let's give Arush a chance. Arush?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Panchajanyam Hrishikesha
Panchajanyam Hrishikesha
Devadattam Dhananjaya
Devadattam Dhananjaya
Poundram Dadmau Mahashankham
Poundram Tatmau Mahashankham
Bhimakarma Vrukodaraha.
Bhimakarma Vrukotaraha
Again, Panchajanyam Hrishikesha
Panchajanyam Hrishikesha.
So here, if you see in English, it would have, or in Sanskrit, it would have been written as Hrishikesho, right? But why we are saying ha is because if you are singing the whole line together, not giving any pause, then you can say Hrishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya. But because we are giving a pause, we have to remove that word which actually merges with the second word. So usually O is given to continue with the next word. Because we are taking a pause, we can say, it is our choice. We can say or we cannot, we can omit also. But it is good to say aha towards that pause. So Panchajanyam Hrishikesha
Panchajanyam Hrishikesha
Devadattam Dhananjaya
Devadattam Dhananjaya
Poundram Dadmau Mahashankham
Poundram Tatmau Mahashankham
Bhimakarma Vrukodaraha.
Bhimakarma Vrukotaraha.
Here Sanjaya is not only giving the explanation of who is blowing the conch first, but he's also saying that they have brand values. They are not ordinary shankhas. See, sometimes when I wear a nice shirt, I will not say I am wearing a shirt. I will say, hey, I am wearing an Armani t-shirt. Right? This is what people say. Why? Because there is a value and there is a brand value associated with that. There is a power to it, to that name. That's why people say. Right? Similarly, here, Sanjaya is telling Dhritarashtra, these are not ordinary conches. Wait. First, the conch was Panchajanya. Panchajanya is the name of the Shankha which is there with Krishna, Sri Krishna. This is what you need to know. It was also name of the Rakshasa that he wins over. There is a big story in Bhagavatam on how Bhagavan Sri Krishna kills Panchajanya and takes the conch. He was a Rakshasa who was inside the conch, right? So deep under the ocean. So it's a big conch, you can imagine. So that's Krishna's conch called as Panchajanya. Then there is Devadatta. Devadatta is the conch for whom? Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya, who is Dhananjaya? Why Dhananjaya? Dhananjaya means one who has no scarcity of wealth. Very wealthy. That means Arjuna had a lot of money. Arjuna had a lot of knowledge. Arjuna was rich in knowledge and rich in blessings from all the gods all over. That is what Arjuna is. So he is the most wealthiest. Whenever the wealth comes here in Bhagavad Gita, it is not about money alone. Of course, money is part of it, but not money alone. More than that, it is wealth of knowledge, wealth of skills, wealth of grace and blessings from elders. That's what he had maximum. That's why Arjuna is specially called as Dhananjaya. No other person can be called as Dhananjaya except Arjuna. He is the one who is blessed to the max. And so Dhananjaya is none other than Arjuna. So whenever Dhananjaya comes, please remember it is none other than Arjuna. What is the name of the conch he has? Devadattam. So first Krishna started, then who started? Arjuna started. See the discipline. Who should go next? They have Yudhishthira was the eldest of the brothers, but did he started coming in the middle and started blowing the conch, saying, Krishna, you are just a rider. Your job is only to ride the horses, nothing else. Why do you come in the picture? You are not even an army you're not even a king who is fighting in this war. You're not supposed to fight. Why do you want to blow your conch? Did he say that? No. He said, Paramatma, under your blessings, we are going to start. So happy for you. They allowed Krishna, and Krishna started it. Then Arjuna. Then who? Poundram. Poundram is the name of the Shankha, which was there with Bhima, Balabhim. He was like one of the most toughest warriors. He was the main defender from the Pandava side. So he takes the responsibility of blowing his conch next. Bhima. Okay. Why? Here nobody calls Bhima Karma. And there is another word for Bhima also in this shloka, which is towards the end. Vrukodaraha. What is Vrukodara? Vrukodara means big tummy. Big tummy means don't just imagine like Bhima as a big tummy, having a big tummy and coming into the war. No, it's not like that. It means that he has the appetite to eat almost like 10 times what a normal person, or maybe more than that one can eat. That is the appetite of Bhima, which means he has that energy also in the same proportion. With that energy, he is blowing this conch, is what we need to understand. Vrukodara is not mentioned just to make sure that we imagine him as a big belly person. No. Vrukodara means he has the ability to blow air to an extent that you cannot even imagine how much he can blow the air into a conch. And it is not an ordinary one. It is Mahashankham. It is not a normal Shankham. For Bhima, it is all like large scale, extra large. Even the dress he wears, the Shankha he picks up, the Gada he has, everything is large scale. Right? So, Mahashankham called as Poundram. He blows air into it. Yeah, it's been there for long. Okay? So that is Bhima. Now we will go into the next one. Now, only thing you have to understand here is they are all coming in a particular sequence. Look at that sequence. How beautiful is the sequence? How well planned is this army? How disciplined is this army? Why? Because they know they are on the right side. They don't have to panic at all. They are planned, and they are under the leadership of none other than God himself, Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So let's see. Next one, 16. Vidura or Varsha, can one of you go if you have the Bhagavad Gita book with you?
Okay.
Ananta Vijayam Raja.
Ananta Vijayam Raja.
Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha.
Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha.
Nakulah Sahadevascha.
Nakula Sahadevacha.
Sughosha Manipushpakau.
Sugosha Mani Pushpakau.
Next one also. All the three next shlokas up to 18th are to be read together. 16th, 17th and 18th. Okay. Kashyascha Parameshwasaha.
Kashyascha Parameshwasaha.
Shikhandi cha Maharathaha.
Shikandi cha Maharadaha.
Drishtadyumno Viratascha.
Drishtadyumno Viratacha.
Satyakischa Parajitaha.
Satyakiccha Parajitaha.
Drupado Draupadeyascha.
Drupado Draupadeyacha.
Sarvashah Prithivipate.
Sarvasha Pridivipate.
Saubhadrascha Mahabahu.
Saubhadracha Mahabahu.
Shankhan dadmu pruthak pruthak.
Shankan Dadmu Pradak Pradaku.
Very good. Right. Does anybody else want to chant all the three? If you want, let me know. Or else I'm going to chant all three together. Yeah, Arush?
Yes.
Ananta Vijayam Raja
Ananta Vijayam Raja
Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha
Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha Nakulasya Devashcha Sukosha Manipushpakau
Kashyascha Parameshwasaha
Ashascha Parameswasaha
Shikhandi cha Maharathaha
Shrikhandi cha Maharathaha
Drishtadyumno Viratascha
Jushtatyamno Viratascha
Satyakischa Parajitaha
Satyakischa Parajitaha
Drupado Draupadeyascha
Drupatro Draupadeyashcha
Sarvashah Prithivipate
Sarvashah Prithivipate
Saubhadrascha Mahabahu
Saupatrascha Mahabahuhu
Shankhan Dadmu Pruthak Pruthak.
Shankantatmuf Prutak Prutak
Very good. So, Ananta Vijaya is the name of the conch for the Raja Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira, the eldest of Pandavas, he had the conch named Ananta Vijaya. Similarly, Nakula and Sahadeva. See, whenever Nakula and Sahadeva you say it together. Even they did not say what is Nakula's instrument and then what is Sahadeva's conch. They did not say. Sanjaya did not say that. Nakula and Sahadeva had, respectively, Sughosha and Manipushpaka. Sughosha is the conch for Nakula. Manipushpaka is the conch for Sahadeva. Right? So this is the order. Krishna, Arjuna, Bhima, Yudhishthira, Nakula, Sahadeva. See the beauty, how sequentially it is flowing through. Right? Then comes Kashi Raja, Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, Satyaki. These were all who? These were not ordinary warriors. These were all Maharathas, the next line of warriors, leaders. Right? If you see in a company, you say CEO, CTO, CFO, and then you talk about like directors or big vice presidents and presidents. Then you talk about all the important roles, all the big leaders, and then comes to the managers. So there is a sequence in which it flows down. There is a harmony. There is a clear direction. Now we know who is going to direct the war, who is going to take the lead in the war by just looking at the sequence, right? And these names are not ordinary names. These names are not ordinary names. These are all who? Maharathas. He says, Kashi Rajaha, Parama Eshwasaha. Esha means here, whenever you use this word, Isha is different from Esha, right? So, Esha means war. Parameshwasaha means it is not Parameshwara. Parameshwasaha means the mighty warrior, right? Shikhandi Maharatha, one who can control the army of 13,000 people, 13,000 soldiers. That is a Maharatha under his control. Then comes Drishtadyumna Virata. Drishtadyumna we know, right? Drishtadyumna, Virata, and Satyaki. Satyaki was also a charioteer for Krishna. Krishna is doing his job as running the horse for Arjuna, which is great. But that is his role in this war. But who is Krishna? He is the king of Dwaraka. He is the king of Dwaraka. So obviously when he is a king, he must have a chariot there. Somebody should be riding the horses. That person is Satyaki. But Satyaki himself is a great warrior. And he has been appointed as one of the Maharathas in the line, in the top line. Instead of Krishna, Satyaki is fighting the war. See, a great leader will sometimes appoint his subordinate in the leading role and say, you do it, I'll just watch. Right? So these are all some of the management skills that one can learn from how Krishna is behaving in this war. He is not saying, I will take everything, I will do. He can just think and everything will be done. But he is not saying that. He's saying, okay, you take the role now. You go ahead and do. I'm watching. I'll be helping you. I'll support you. Right? So all these kings in specific order based on their roles and ranks in the war, they are blowing their respective conches. Then comes who? Drupada. Drupada is brother of Draupadi. Oh, sorry. The father of Draupadi. Drishtadyumna's father. Drupada Maharaj. And then comes his grandsons. See, here again their grandsons were 5. Draupadi had 5 sons. Never ever their names will come in the picture. They were smaller. They were younger. They were teens. So you won't call them by their names. They have big life to prove themselves up. So until they prove something on their own, they will still be called, though they are mighty warriors, they will still be called as sons of Draupadi. So Draupadeyascha means sons of Draupadi. Saubhadrascha. Saubhadrascha means son of Subhadra. Who is son of Subhadra? Abhimanyu is the son of Subhadra. Shanti aunty is telling all the answers. Next time you should just pick up the answers. Okay? Abhimanyu is the son of Subhadra. Who is Subhadra? Wife of Arjuna. So Abhimanyu's son is not called as Arjuna's son. Abhimanyu is not called as Arjuna's son. He is called as Subhadra's son. See, our scriptures have given no less weightage to women who have given birth to strong leaders. We have respected, at every point in time, we have respected the Matrumurti, the motherly nature in a woman. Right? So, Draupadeyascha Subhadrascha Shankhan Dadhu Pruthak Pruthak. One after the other, they have blown their respective conches. See how beautifully Sanjaya is explaining in a particular order with specific ones which are of importance. He is giving the names, and after a particular limit, he is saying these are all the kings who are ready for war, and they have given their response to Bhishma. You guys, Duryodhana and Kauravas, are making all random calls. Look at this disciplined army which is ready to fight now. If I was Dhritarashtra, I would have been shaken up. Now here he is also talking about, if you see, in case of Kashi Raja Parameshwasa, Shikhandi Maharatha, Drishtadyumna Virata Satyaki Aparajitaha. They have never seen a failure in a war. All these Maharathas are not ordinary Maharathas. They are the ones who have never been defeated so far. Such warriors are participating from Pandava's side. Now tell me, Dhritarashtra, do you have even a smallest of the hint that war is almost one-sided now? Do you want to take a breath and then stop the war? That's an indication which Sanjaya is giving Dhritarashtra by just explaining. This is how you should explain. When we are explaining something, we should explain in a particular order, and sometimes you don't have to communicate directly that, oh Raja, I think you are going to lose. The moment he says that, Sanjaya's head will be off. Right? So sometimes you have to speak diplomatically. And this is a beautiful example of how diplomatic communication can happen. Right? So we will stop here at 18. And then after this, there will be, of course, how things are happening up and unwinding. And just to let you know that after this to and fro. Bhishma said, I am ready for the war. Pandavas, along with Krishna, everybody said, we are ready for the war. And after that, a small incident happens in the mind of Arjuna. That changes the direction completely of first chapter. Until now, first chapter is, who's in whose control? Is it on Pandava's side or Kaurava's side? Pandava's side. Pandava's side is becoming more stronger. They seem more disciplined. They seem more energized. They seem more, organized, and they have great brand values with them. They have never seen a defeat. And on the side of Kauravas, you have big warriors, no doubt. Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Ashwadhama, big, and some of them who can die only at their own wish. Bhishma, Drona, Ashwadhama, they will not die. Kripacharya, they will not die if they don't want to. What will you do? And they are in the fight, so you can't kill them. Right? You have that army as well. But still, we feel Pandavas are on the brighter side so far. We will see what happens to Arjuna in his mind. And then what happens thereafter is the essence of the chapter, which is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Vishada, sorrow, sadness, right? Depression. That's what will happen. That's the name of the chapter. We will start connecting with that chapter from 21 onwards. But from 18th to 21, which is 19 and 20, we only talk about what happens in the war field after this situation. Okay? All right. So I think we have some more time. Why don't we chant 19 and 20 if you are okay with that? Vidra, you want to chant? Okay. Go after me then. See, these are like, that's what I said. This can be fast forwarded because these are like quickly telling you the sequence of things that are happening. But we need to only focus on how organized these people are. We should appreciate that. Okay. All right. Let's go with 19. Saghoshodhartra Rashtranam.
Saghoshodhartra
Very good. Hrudayani Vyadarayat.
Hridayani
Vyadarayat. Vyadarayat. Vyadarayat means a kind of fear, tension. Tension is the right word. A kind of tension. Vyadarayat is a kind of tension and a panic and a fear that happens in your heart. Where it is happening? Hrudayani. Hrudayani Vyadarayat. A terror. Okay. So let's see. Saghoshodhartra Rashtranam.
Saghoshodhartra
Hrudayani Vyadarayat.
Hridayani Vyadarayat
Nabhascha Prudhvim Chaiva.
Nabhashta Pravatim Chaiva
Prithvi is a Nabhascha Prudhvim Chaiva.
Nabhascha Pravatim Chaiva
Tumulo Vyanunadayan.
Vyadayan
Tumulo Vyanunadayan.
Vandanadayan
Vyanunadayan. A vibration. Where the vibrations were? Saghosho. Saghosho. With all these sounds that Pandavas were making and the Pandava side army men were making, there was a kind of terror, a kind of panic, a kind of tension, a kind of vibration which was not happy vibration. It was an unhealthy vibe in the hearts of whom? Dhartra Rashtrana. Dhritarashtra's side, their side of people, which is Bhishma and all those soldiers, they started trembling with fear because of the sound itself that was being made. Nabhascha Prithvim Chaiva. The vibrations were not just to the hearts of the opponent army. The vibrations went all across the Nabha, sky, and Prithvi, the earth. The entire sky and the earth was shaking with those vibrations. That was the sound of righteousness. When you do something right, when you know that you are doing right, and when you speak about it, you get this kind of a vibration. You can influence this kind of a vibration into many others. So what is important? What is important is not to make sound. What is important is to be on the right side, because the sound will automatically get generated if you are on the right side, right? So Saghosho dhatra rashtanam hrudayani vyadarayat nabhascha prithvim chaiva tumulo vyanu nadayan. There was immense amount of vibration all over there. No? So that's how it was. We will stop here and then close with the closing prayers. See, the impact of things when you do it right way, the impact of it is not limited to people. Even the surroundings will rejuvenate, will just vibrate positively towards you, in favor of you. That is also an indication in this shloka. Okay. All right. So let's do the closing prayers. Om Sarvesham Swasthir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. All right, we will see you all next week. Tomorrow is Shivratri. Happy Mahashivratri to all of you. We will catch up again next Sunday and continue from 20 onwards.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Om.
Bye, Mama. Advance happy Shivratri to all.
Thank you, Arush.
Bye, Uncle. Advance happy Mahashivratri.
Thanks, Riyatali.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Happy Shivratri to all. We'll catch you up and the next week. You can do your Shreya. You can start doing the Gita Dhyanam, right?
Yes, Uncle.
Okay. Next week we will see you then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next week, I don't know, I might join the class or not, because from March 7th, I think so, we are having our final exams. So I'm not able to attend the classes regularly.
No problem. Whenever you can, whenever you attend, just let me know. You can chant.
Yeah, sure.
All right. See you all then. Jai Shri Krishna.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Pavan. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.